Are you ready for the weekend yet? We have events, news, and a guest for you to enjoy this Lake Life weekend. Hey, welcome to another episode of Lake Life Weekend Podcast. I'm Dirk, I'm your host, and we are approaching weekend 15 already. It is April, and we have a snowstorm coming. I really don't like those weeks with a snowstorm in April, but I'm very sure it will be all melted and gone shortly. If you are brave enough and don't care about the white, there's a lot happening this weekend. We have music events, we have bands in Detroit Lakes, we have an outing on Detroit Lakes Mountain, we have a fish decoy show in Perham. Go to our website lakelifeweekend.com, and on the bottom part you will see our event schedule organized by area. So cities like Vergas, Perham, Alexandria, Park Rapids, and Detroit Lakes area. We have them bundled, and all events in that town, city are in this category. So browse around and find what's happening. We are really appreciating your use of our website. It's growing. We had a spike. We had like 500 people on our website Wednesday 2 weeks ago. And it was not a crawl from Russia or a crawl from China. That sometimes happens too, that there's like weird web crawlers checking out your website. We had that seen in the last year. But in fact, all those users came from the local areas because you can check geographically where those users are coming from. So thank you very much. We appreciate that, and we love to see the attention to our work here. So keep coming, keep visiting us. Also, thank you very much for listening, of course. There's more stories and content on our website as well. Follow us on Instagram for some snapshots and things. We are following the growth of our little Oscar. He is 6 months old already and growing, behaving really well. And we are going out with him regularly on walks now that the snow is gone soon. Of course, hopefully you will see more outdoor pictures coming. Yeah, and if you have an idea for us, if you have anything you want us to share, please email us to hello@lakelifeweekend.com. And now there's a program that we captured on our EXPO from the Lakes Country Electric Cooperative. Dan is speaking a little bit about current projects, a little bit more in depth. A very interesting program we wanted to share with you. So lean back, grab a cup of coffee or tea or whatever you would like to drink and enjoy this podcast with us. Go to our website again, check this out, and we hope you have a great weekend ahead. Thank you for tuning in. Talk to you soon. Bye. Well, we are here on stage with another program. We have Dan here from the Lakes Region Electric Cooperative.
Electric Cooperative.
Yes. Hi, Dan. And we will speak.
Dirk.
Thank you for coming and being with us at the expo and here on stage. And I would like to speak to you a little bit about the history of the cooperative located, I think, with a headquarter in Pelican Rapids. And there's a history for how it was established and who we are serving, who your members are, and then what you have been transforming to. There's a brand new project, a wind energy project. You have some solar energy projects. So my interest is always renewable energies, renewable energy sources. But then also maybe we can touch there's a product that you introduced to me, like a backup generator.
Standby generator, yes.
Standby generator. So yeah, maybe you introduce yourself quick, and then also the cooperative, and then we speak a little bit more about energy.
Sure. My name is Dan Husted, and I'm the Vice President of Business Development at Lake Region Electric Co-op. and we're located in Pelican Rapids. Our service territory is all of Otter Tail County, the rural part of Otter Tail County, Wilkin County, a little bit of Clay, a little bit of Becker, a little bit of Douglas, and we were incorporated back in 1937, so all part of the New Deal and
80 years
Franklin
ago.
Roosevelt and the Rural Electrification Administration. So
90 years ago.
a lot has changed since 1937.
How was it back then? You mentioned
I wasn't there.
You I hope you were. No, but you just mentioned so quickly rural developments like energy. You have to understand, I guess, or we have to understand, energy was not just a given. Like today, we just expect it to be in our house. It's right there.
Oh,
but
not for rural people. There was electricity was available in the cities and towns. Big power companies served the towns. Sometimes municipals had their own diesel generators, and you got more than a half a mile out of town, and farmers did not have electricity, did not have lights, so they were still had kerosene lamps and a lot of manual labor. So when REA came, they helped set the poles. They helped sign up neighbors, because just to have an electric motor, to grind feed and do a lot of the simple chores, to pump water. I think back then it was farm wives had it was a lot of work in order to do laundry, to do a lot of simple things, and when electricity came, it just really liberated women particularly.
But if I understand correctly, your cooperative was actually a joint venture of farmers that said, like, hey, we want electricity on our farm, and they met, figured out how expensive it was to bring electricity to the farms, and then it was a self-made. Explain that a little bit more.
Well, there was a lot of politics behind it out of Washington. First, REA was offered to all the big power companies, and
What's REA?
they rejected it. The Rural Electrification Administration,
part
of the New Deal, and the big power companies rejected it. So the farmers in rural areas said, well, why can't we form a co-op? We'll borrow the money from the government. We'll pay it back. We'll be the owners. And that's the difference between a co-op and an ordinary corporation, is that the owners are the shareholders. So
the members own.
The members own it. So they there's a natural interest in keeping costs down, keeping the bills low, because if you're a shareholder, why would you want to pay out of one pocket to put in the other? So you just keep costs low.
Right. So you try to be as efficient
yes.
with energy consumption, but also with the overheads of the operation.
That's
How
right.
many households? Is it 17,000 members?
We are approaching 30,000.
30,000 members, and in the main of Otter Tail County.
Right.
So we have a lot of lake homes that we are connecting also. Like living on a lake.
Oh yeah, obviously since the 80s, particularly the 90s, a lot of development around the lakes, and that is really drove the numbers of residential accounts up. What used to be farms, is now outnumbered by lake homes.
Yeah, okay, of course, yeah. But you are not an energy producer. You are by now, but actually you're an energy distributor. So you're connecting the household with the energy producer, correct?
So in the co-op world, because we're all fairly small, don't have the capital, co-ops will join together. So in our case, there are 28 co-ops that own Great River Energy, which owns generation and transmission. So they actually own the power plants in North Dakota, have entered into purchase agreements for big wind farms. They also own natural gas-fired generation. So they are our wholesale power supplier, and we are the retailer.
Okay. So you are a shareholder of that, nevertheless.
That's correct.
So a group of co-ops is same model. A group of consumers formed the co-op.
Great River Energy is a co-op too.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, very interesting. But now we have a very recent project which was just released or launched. You have a wind project in Otter County.
So yeah, with Great River Energy, they allow us to purchase 5% on our own, provided it comes from a renewable energy resource. So we took advantage of that. We started talking to Joule Energy a couple years ago, and they were talking about a very unique wind-solar hybrid. One wind turbine, 2.3 megawatts, and then a half a megawatt of solar, which is about 1,500 panels. And it's interconnected into our Erhard substation. So it's interconnected actually into a distribution line. So this is really distributed generation. You know, the state of Minnesota talks about it a lot. Most of the developments are big, huge wind farms that you see in southwestern Minnesota or northeastern South Dakota, and now in western North Dakota. But this is unique in that it's connected right to our distribution line, and provides about half of the energy that Erhard substation needs over the course of a year.
Half of it.
Yes.
And that's all renewable energy.
All renewable.
So what's our ratio in energy production in the state of Minnesota? We have a fairly high renewable energy production rate, don't we?
I don't know about the state of Minnesota as a whole. I can tell you that Great River Energy, their goal is to achieve 50% renewable by 2030.
That's an ambitious goal.
And so we're already at 30%. So it's
is
moving quickly. And so the generation is only one aspect of it. Then the second aspect is effectively utilizing energy that is intermittent. And
what does intermittent mean?
Well, sometimes the wind blows and sometimes it doesn't.
Oh.
So
Sure.
in the world that we're used to, when peak demand time comes, it's supper time, everybody gets home from work, turns the lights on, you know, people use a lot of electricity. Well, in the traditional world, you just throttle up, and the generation plants, being coal or natural gas, just produce more energy to meet the demand. In the new world, where you have intermittent supplies of energy, you have to use that electricity when it's available.
Yes.
So that's why people talk about batteries. So you have to be able to store it. So at Erhard, there are times of the year when that wind turbine and that solar array will be producing more electricity than there is load on the substation. Now, we have to buy it. If it's produced, we have to pay for it. But if it goes back out onto the transmission line to somebody else, we don't get to sell it. It's a loss. It's essentially wasted. So the next stage of that project is to interconnect. It's called grid interactive. So it'll be grid interactive thermal storage. So we will store that energy in water heaters. We will store it in electric thermal storage furnaces, floor heat. Eventually, it will go into electric vehicle batteries.
Sure.
To make use of that energy when it's available and when it's cheap.
Okay. So, and how is that organized? Or like, when do you know that it's there? Hey, we need to, hey, switch all your water heaters on right now. Like, is there an algorithm? How is that then being
It's
managed?
only possible because of high-speed microprocessors, high-speed internet. So we are working with the Steffes Corporation out of Dickinson, North Dakota, and they've done this in other places in the country. And in fact, we have a number of water heaters out on our system now. They've been out there for 10 years that are monitored through the internet. We know exactly what the temperature of the water is in the tank. And so with this microprocessing system, you can monitor not only thousands of water heaters, you can take care of individual water heaters in somebody's home. So if the goal is the wind is blowing and you need to utilize that energy, you actually instruct the tanks to take the temperature up from 120, say, to 150, and you're able to store those kilowatt hours. And so what that means to the energy market is it helps balance things. So think of tens of thousands of wind turbines across all of the Midwest, and it's all flowing into the transmission grid at the same time. And for periods of hours, there is too much generation. Lake Region and its members can get paid for the ability to store that energy in water heaters, electric vehicles, because we provide a balancing service.
Okay.
And so then that will be the economics behind rebates, special rates for putting in these water heaters on our lines.
Huh.
And even for that home that, say, while they got company and they're using a lot of hot water, well, when you're able to manage thousands of water heaters, you can allow a few to catch up.
Okay.
It isn't as rigid as traditional load control where you just shut everybody off regardless of their individual needs. You can actually take care of people that have a house full and are using hot water.
Now, coming from generating electricity, storing electricity, our goal, I think, is probably also to reduce consumption. So are you advising, are you helping? I mean, we have LED lights, for example. Is it in our best interest actually to consume less energy forthgoing?
I think that's one way of putting it. I think maybe a better way is we become more productive with the energy that we're using. So actually energy consumption is flat. It's been going down.
Oh yeah?
But yet we have more stuff. We have a lot more stuff in our homes using electricity, but it's all very efficient.
Yeah.
Air conditioners are efficient. Refrigerators are efficient. And LEDs and lighting, that used to be the biggest load. Now it's really been reduced.
Yeah,
so yeah, we're doing more things, we're electrifying more and more of what we do every day, but we're using less electricity.
Yeah, but it's
in total.
But it's in our interest, and I think you help also members to get.
Oh yeah, we provide rebates for heat pumps, for lighting, a lot of different types of electric technologies.
Yeah. So there is a product that I saw earlier here. It's your backup. Tell us. I mean, I live rural too, and sometimes I lose electricity, and I thought about it. I was never really concerned. But what if the energy is gone and my house freezes up, and I'm in it, or like I'm gone and my water's in there? So what is this backup thing?
So we over the last 2 years have started selling standby generators. And we have a lot of lake homes, a lot of snowbirds, a lot of people that travel and worried about sump pumps, worried about their furnace. And it on one hand, we talk about how our reliability is getting better and better, and it is. We trim more trees, we got more wires underground, but people have a lot at stake. And if you're in Arizona, and your home is here, you kind of like to know that the furnace is running, that there's power for the sump pumps, which is a big deal in a lot of the lake area. So it's been a big seller for us. We've sold a lot of standby generators, and part of the key is the technology that there's an automatic transfer switch that senses when power goes off and it turns the generator on. Well, it's made smaller. We can plug it right into the meter socket, and the meter plugs into it. It just makes the whole installation process go very smooth.
And it runs on my propane.
Propane or natural gas, yes.
And it quicks in fairly instantly. Is my furnace then just kicking back in? Like when it just lost power?
About 15 to 30 seconds. So it waits for the devices out on our power lines they go through their oil-filled circuit reclosers, breakers, and they go through a series of operations before they determine that the line is truly dead. And it takes about 15, 20 seconds, and then the generator comes on.
Okay, and then everything comes to life again?
Yeah.
I think my furnace kicks in automatically then?
Yes.
It does.
And in fact, we will use these generators to control load in the summertime, and we will actually pay the owners of the generators for a few hours of operation each summer to reduce transmission and power costs. So, not only is it a convenience for them, they'll get a little bill credit to help pay their air conditioning bill.
Oh, they run in the summer too, like as a sub
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Probably would with summer outages would probably have an opportunity in terms of runtime, probably as much in the summertime as the winter.
Okay. And how big is the machine? I saw a picture. Is it like 2 feet by 2 feet, or
A little bigger than the table there, yeah.
And are they quiet? Are they loud? I just know those generators, they always are so noisy and stinky, but is it?
They would be a bit like an air conditioner, maybe a little quieter.
Oh, so they're barely noticeable. And you just set them around the house?
Ours are generally back at the lot line because all of our meters and transformers are at the lot line, so they're away from the house.
Oh, they're so far away. And then you connect them to my propane tank, and that's it.
That's it.
Huh.
You want one?
I do want one.
Okay.
I like those things. I know. I just saw the picture and I thought that was really interesting. I didn't even know. So because I've seen homes here with like those big diesel generators once. I'm just like at a hospital or something. You see those big backup machines, and then I see a big house, and then they had a similar unit. I was like, whoa.
So these are Briggs and Stratton. Just you got the same engine in your lawnmower. So
okay.
Just run forever and take all kinds of abuse. So
Okay.
but we offer maintenance programs for them. So we come out and we change the oil, every year on all of the generators. So which is better than my lawnmower gets.
Mine too, actually, by the way. Just curious, I'm really curious. How expensive is one of those units? Is it affordable? Is it expensive?
Well, I think they're very affordable when you consider them against the prices of various toys that we spend money on. But in the $4,000 to $6,000 range. Installed.
Okay.
That's the electric side. You would still have some costs for running propane piping.
Okay. Well, I think that's a really interesting product. And how many homes are connected with one of those? Is it 1,000 or 500 or?
We've got about a couple hundred.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's a fairly new product?
We got one crew that does this, and they get about 100 a summer, and that's
okay. Okay. Yeah.
That fills the summer.
I really did not know about that thing, and I actually like it. Yeah. So, is there additional projects coming? Are we expecting more solar? Is there like a 5-year, 10-year plan after this one big project now? Is there more coming from?
Well, we're allowed 5%. The Earhart project is about 2%, so we could explore the possibility of other projects. Looking down the road at potentially a larger battery type project, and we're just kind of following that technology. We do sell residential solar arrays.
Oh, you do?
For individuals. And it's a unique program.
Why is that?
So the state of Minnesota mandates that utilities interconnect with renewable energy systems, small solar, and they have their own formula for how a utility reimburses the customer.
Okay.
And it's based on our average retail rate. Works well for the customer, not so well for us, because the solar produces electricity from 10 o'clock till 3 in the afternoon,
Okay.
which
Not a
is
lot of time.
not when we need it. So
Oh.
what we do is we have a program called Go West, and so it's our own proprietary rate and installation. We aim the solar panels to the southwest,
Yeah.
so that optimizes production at 6 o'clock and at 7 o'clock, which is peak time. So
PM.
when they're PM, so
Yeah.
when they're producing electricity at 6 o'clock, that reduces Lake Region's power bill. We give them a bill credit. We share the savings with the homeowner.
The homeowner.
We still reimburse them for electricity that they put out on our lines during the day, but it's at the same price that we pay GRE. So the goal is to size the system so that they're offsetting their own purchases from us. So that's the big savings. And then in the summertime, June, July, and August, they get a bill credit, and we share the reduction in the demand charges, which is considerable. So the return on investment with Go West is better than net metering.
Okay. So as far as I'm educated, batteries, they don't. Batteries are still too expensive, I think, or cannot do enough. Like I cannot just put a bunch of batteries in my crawl space or basement and just fill them up all the time. It's not cheap enough yet, right? Or efficient enough. So it's more expensive if I would go.
It's more expensive. So when we talked about the Earhart project and using water heaters as a battery, it's less than a quarter of the cost of the lithium batteries that you're talking about for electric vehicles.
Right. I see. Yeah. So but technology is going there. I see some things on the internet. There's like a group in Austria. Do you have
It's
news
going there. It has to.
Yeah, batteries are getting better, right?
They're going to have to. If we're going to go 50% or more renewable energy, batteries have to get better.
Yeah,
It's a necessity, and they are.
They are. Yeah. Question is, can we invent them? But I don't know. I'm not a physician, so I really don't know how a battery barely works. But yeah. But you see that it will. You're confident that technology will allow us to go in this direction.
Electric vehicles are driving that. So as they make more market penetration and are improving, that's the key probably to storage.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of large commercial batteries out there that are being used even by co-ops.
Okay. Do you think electric vehicles are gonna come to the Minnesota area more and more with our winter? Everybody says winter.
Well, I think they're making inroads in the cities.
Yeah.
And where people commute on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And over time, as people get accustomed to range and we get charging stations, they'll get over what's called range anxiety.
Right. Yes.
Where people, the farther they get away from home and farther away they get from a charger, they get a little nervous.
Of course.
I think people will get over that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was very interesting. Do you have anything else you wanted to share? Anything else I didn't ask? Some
Oh, probably, but people have questions. They can stop by the booth and
yeah, and then ask one-on-one. So if you want to learn more about LCER,
LREC.
I always mix that up. I had too many abbreviations. I'm sorry about that. LREC. So there's a booth and there's more answers to electric questions from Ottawa County.
Well, thank you, Dirk. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming, being part of this. Thank you. Yeah, this was already our newest episode of the Lake Life Weekend podcast. We sure hope you enjoyed it. Tune in again next week with another great guest and updates. Always check out our website, lakelifeweekend.com, and if you have some comments, please feel free to email us at hello@lakelifeweekend.com, and you have a wonderful weekend ahead.